What's up, guys? This is C, and we are back for another episode review of Love After Lockup. And today we're going to talk about season 3, episode 8, Love Don't Cost a Ring. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, this episode starts off with Scott and Lindsey. Scott's sitting at home, and now the pandemic has started and it's full force, obviously, because Scott is doing confessionals via his cell phone. He's like holding it up and he's talking, and he gets a phone call from Lindsey, and Lindsey is telling him that she is now able to get out, and she gets out tomorrow. She gets out of prison tomorrow. So he is excited that he's finally going to get to see Lindsey, and he is ready to get their life started because he, reminds us that he moved to Mississippi to be with her. And now that she's finally getting out, that they can go ahead and get their life started. Then we see Lindsey, and she is also recording herself via cell phone or selfie. And she's telling us that, this is her first time being able to try on sunglasses in years or whatnot. And she gives us a little background on herself, telling us that she didn't start getting into trouble until she turned 22. And that's when she started selling drugs and going on wild police chases with weapons in the car and getting incarcerated. But she calls her mom and, lets her mom know that she is out and that she's ready to see her daughter. And she tells her daughter that she doesn't have to go to the halfway house, that she actually gets to come home. Well, to she and Scott's home. And her mom, lets her know because this was right when people were very unsure, as they should have been, about, other people who they haven't been around and not knowing who they've been around. So her mom suggested that she quarantine for 14 days. And if everything is all good, then she will bring Lindsey's daughter to see her. And Lindsey's kind of bummed because she's out of prison now and she really wants to see her daughter, but she can't see her right now because her mom wants to make sure that it's safe for her to be in that environment. And she lets us know that she is overwhelmed with everything that's going on. And she feels like Scott is what she needs right now. And I don't know if Scott is what she needs right now. Scott was definitely a convenience item for Lindsey during her stay behind bars. But it is what it is. And she hopes that the connection that they have or had online and over the phone transfers into real life. She sounds like she's sort of unsure about it. I'm unsure for her, so she doesn't really have to be. And then we get to Destiny and Shawn. Destiny is home from the furniture store and she is absolutely pissed. She is mad because Shawn had the car cut off, and rightfully so, because Destiny, her ass was probably about to go out and wild out with this man's money that he does not have, but is too afraid to tell her no. So he does little sneaky stuff behind her back and he goes and he cuts the card off. Well, he's making excuses as to why he couldn't call the bank and this and that. Destiny's no fool and she knows that Shawn is full of shit, but Shawn should have stood up to her and told her that I didn't have time for you going to spend $3,000 when there are other things that I need to do with that money. And especially since you got $50,000 kind of hanging over my head right now, because I don't know if you're a flight risk or not. But again, Shawn just folds when it comes to Destiny. And he even says himself that he wishes that he had told her no a little more in prison, because now he feels like he's created this monster and this spoiled brat. But that's on him, and he's a dummy for doing it. Now, he reveals to her, they're kind of talking about when they first got together. He's saying, you know, I'm sure you were with other people and so was I, and I cut them all off when we got serious. And she was like, what do you mean you were with other people? You didn't tell me that. So now she feels like Shawn has lied to her yet again about something else. But the whole time you've been in prison bumping uglies with other women, but you have not revealed that to Shawn, nor have you revealed to him that you are still gonna do it. So Destiny just wants a reason to be mad. She is just full of shit as far as I'm concerned. And Shawn is crazy for continuing to put up with it. But he assures her that, you know, it was short-lived and it's just going to be the two of them. And really, it was him and the mother of his 6 children. That's who he was dealing with. Who, in my opinion, he should still be dealing with, considering that she has all of your babies. But, hey, they didn't work for whatever reason, and it must have been a good enough reason because they're not together anymore. So then we go to John and Christiana. Christiana lets us know how happy she was to be able to see her mom when she was out and she was supposed to be looking for jobs, but they were kind of trying to work the system a little bit, and John was trying to find creative ways for the two of them to spend time together and for her to be able to see her mom while she was at places that she could get job applications from and apply for employment. Now, they go out to eat, and he wanted to spend a little more time with her, and he lets us know that they still haven't been intimate yet because they haven't had time. When she's out from the halfway house, she is only supposed to be out to find employment. And so they go to sit down at this Italian restaurant. Now, in her defense, she did ask the waitress for an application, but the waitress was like, okay, before I go get that, let me tell you about the specials. The menu is on the front and the back. It's a full menu all day. Like, she started giving them the rundown, trying to get an order. And when she walks off, somebody just comes up to the camera crew and was just like, or to their table and was like, basically, Christiana, you got to get up and go. You need to get back to the halfway house now. You're violating or doing something you're not supposed to do. Something to that number. And so she gets up and she's like, what do you mean? I was trying to find a job. She was like, I asked her for an application, and the guy was like, yeah, right, I was sitting here watching the whole time. So he had been following them, and I guess he wanted to get her in a position to where she couldn't deny that she wasn't looking for a job. So he yanked her up and took her back to the halfway house, and John is sitting there all afraid, thinking that, you know, she is gonna get in trouble. But I do need to mention also that Christiana said that she feels like with her mom, you know, feeling the way that she feels, wanting her to succeed and having John's support behind her, she feels like she can successfully complete parole this time or get out of the halfway house. Now, she said that before she was whisked back to the halfway house, and they don't know what's going to happen to her. So John is scared, and naturally Christiana's probably scared also. So then we get to Quail and Cheville. Now the party is starting. Quail's people come in, and Cheville's like, hey, everybody, this is Quail's mom. And everybody's like, hey, you know, everybody's excited to see him. They're clapping and carrying on. And so Cheville just absolutely cannot wait. I don't even think people had a chance to take their coats off, but she wanted to drag Quail outside to reveal to him that he got a brand new truck. Now, Quail is flabbergasted. He is blown away because nobody has ever done anything like this for him before. Nobody has ever thrown him a party, nor has anybody ever bought him a vehicle. And he was smart, you know, he was excited to have this truck, but he also revealed that he does not even have a driver's license, and he is not going to get caught up by trying to take this thing for a joyride and go back to jail. So I was pretty impressed that he wasn't gonna fall for the okie doke. But they're celebrating and happy, and then you see DeMarc, her cousin, like to the side, and he's like, he is not buying it. He is not buying it at all. But then we jump over to Shawn and Hector. Now Shawn has dragged Hector out with him, and he takes him to a jewelry store. For what? To buy Destiny a ring. Yes, this man is planning to propose to Destiny, and he's got $2,000 to do it. So Hector's joking about, maybe him finding a pair of handcuffs, because that's the kind of jewelry that she's used to. And I got a little kiki about that because Hector is funny. I like Hector. Hector is just straight no chaser. I mean, he is telling his friend how it is. And that's the kind of person that anybody could use in their life, that truly wants to look out for you and have your best interests at heart. But the girl, was it just me? Or did the girl that worked at the jewelry store look a lot like the girl from the furniture store with just like less curlier hair? I don't know. Maybe it was just me. I just saw a short brunette and I just automatically wanted to say they looked alike. But they did kind of favor to me. So I thought that was strange. But she looked like she was 12. It was strange. But she talks him into getting this really beautiful, I don't know if it was rose gold, but it was a really pretty ring. I don't know about cuts or anything of that nature. I had a ring tattooed on me, so that goes to show you how much I know about jewelry. I'm not really into jewelry, but it was a really beautiful ring. I can say that. And he was convinced right away, and that was the ring that he was going to get for Destiny. Now, Hector told him straight up, he was just like, you are dumb. And he told him he told him what everybody else in TV land was thinking. You are crazy. Why are you doing so much for this woman? What has she shown you to make you want to blow like through all of your life savings and your children's money to be with her? But he's convinced that she's the one for him, and nobody is going to tell him different. Now then we get to Maurice and Jessica. They pick up where they left off. They were pulling up to her parents' house. They're nervous. He's got flowers in his hands for her mom, trying to make a good first impression. And so they come in, he gives her the flowers, and mom gives him a hug. She's happy to see him. Dad's kind of like, whatever, come in. He's petting the dog. He's happy to see his in-laws. And so dad was still unsure about Maurice, and he's just kind of wondering if he's just pulling a con on the family, which he's not wrong for thinking that. So they're talking, and this conversation just got weird, like fast. They went from talking about him being home playing Fortnite the night before, and her dad took a shot at him and was like, what is that? What Fortnite? What's that? And he was like, the video game. And dad was like, oh, well, I don't know nothing about those because I didn't have time to play video games. I had to work. So basically telling him that he didn't have time to really bullshit like Maurice is doing. He's been out working, making a living, which I'm sure is what he wants Maurice to do for Jessica. And then they start talking about crazy stuff, about how when they were staying with his cousin in Compton, how roaches were running around and shit. It was just weird. Why would you tell your parents? Why would Jessica even think that the parents would want to hear this? But I guess she was giving them some tales from the hood and thought it was entertaining them, but they were like not impressed, nor did they think it was funny. They were just kind of sitting there like, what the fuck? And that's how I was looking, but they for some reason thought it would be a good idea to tell that story. Then mom somehow, through conversation, figures out that, wait, Maurice is not supposed to be here. Maurice is violating parole. Yes, mom, he is violating parole. So dad at this point is pissed because now not only can Maurice get in trouble, but Jessica's goofy ass can get in trouble also. And so he basically tells her that, look, you're going to need to put a stop to this now because you can get in trouble right along with him. And the whole time they're leaving Compton, coming to Vegas, I'm sure everybody else was thinking, okay, do y'all not care that he is on 2 strikes and he get 1 more and it's curtains for him? But they didn't care, so why should we? Then we get to this little short where it shows Destiny, and Destiny, for some reason, is telling us about how she used to get drunk in prison, and she did so by what? Drinking hand sanitizer. I kid you not, this woman said that she drank hand sanitizer, and it certainly shows, because she is a hot mess, and I guess that's what drinking hand sanitizer will do to you. So don't drink hand sanitizer, because you will end up acting like Destiny. Now, then we go to Heather and Dylan. We get a little more from them this episode. Why? Because Dylan gets out of jail today, and Heather is so excited. She's getting dressed. She's putting on her makeup. She is doing her highlights and everything. She's getting herself together for her man. So she is just so happy, and she's telling us how they didn't really get to spend much time together before he went away. And so she is looking to make up for lost times for sure. Now, she says that he has gained about 80 pounds in muscle, and so she is just so ready to get in those muscle-bound arms, and the first thing she plans to do is run to him and jump into those arms. Now, she's got a small percentage of worry when it comes to Dylan because of the lifestyle that he led before getting locked up, as she should, because Dylan reveals to us that he's been locked up 34 times. Does the 3-strike rule not apply to wherever they are? Because he had 34 of those strikes. But obviously not. Now, she's driving and doing her makeup. She's getting ready to go and get her man. And she's telling us basically that she manifested Dylan. She did a vision board back a while ago, and some of the things that she wanted in life came to be, and Dylan was one of them. So she was excited about being with him. Now, when she gets a little heavy, because she tells us a story about how she was 14 and her mom and stepdad basically sent her to some camp for troubled teens, and she ended up being taken against her will there sexually. And that had to be rough for her. And you can look at Heather and tell that she's got some trauma behind her. She's got, there's some hurt behind her just a little bit. You can just kind of tell in her demeanor and her being. But she says that Dylan was the only person that she told her secret to, and therefore she feels like Dylan and she are meant to be together. Now, when we go back to Quail and Cheville, they're at the party, and then the moms get together. So Mama Cheville and Mama Quailin are together, and they're talking. They both agree that they don't like the fact that Cheville is buying Quailin things. Cheville, by the way, doesn't care. Nobody can tell her what to do for her man, because that's her man, and she doesn't care what anybody has to say. Now, they're in agreement about that. They both say, she's doing too much too soon. However, Quaylin's mom feels like she's trying to buy Quaylin's affections. And Chevelle's mom necessarily, she doesn't necessarily feel that way. She's like, well, maybe she just wants to do nice things for him because he hasn't had that. And so the mom is just convinced that no, she feels like she's kind of holding a purse over his head to keep him there, to keep him with her. But they kind of go back and forth a little bit about it, and eventually they agree to disagree. Quaylin's mom was kind of getting a little disrespectful with the hand movements and everything, and then I think she tells her like be gone or something like that. But she was kind of out of pocket for that. She could have just said, okay, well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this. I'm going to feel how I feel and you feel how you feel. And they should have moved on. Now, DeMarc also kind of chimes in to us, and he just kind of lets us know that he feels like, you know, Cheville doesn't know Quaylen's true nature because all she knows is locked up Quaylen. And he's right. I mean, she doesn't know. Everybody, you know, is capable of change, but she doesn't know how he's going to be once he gets acclimated to being on the outside. And that's DeMarc's point. And she's buying him all these things, and she's doing too much too soon to him. Now, he comes outside to talk to Quaylen. Quaylen's outside smoking a cigarette and like on the phone or something. And he comes out and he basically asks Quaylen, you know, if he's going to take what he can get and just slide, if he's going to leave. He's convinced that that's what he's going to do to Cheville. Quaylen, they cut off before Quaylen really had a chance to respond. So I guess we'll get more into that conversation next episode. So then we get to Tyrese and Shonda. As short as this segment was, it told us a lot about Tyrese and Shonda. He's driving her back to the bus station. She's talking about how good the chicken was. She seemed to be more excited about the chicken than she was to be with Tyrese. He's bummed because they didn't get to have sex. Oh well. So he's talking to her, and he's like, you know, people think that you're too young for me, but I don't think that's true. I think that we are good together, and if necessary, it's going to be us against the world, right? And so she kind of reluctantly agrees, but then she goes and tells us in the confessional that she's not really sure, and as a matter of fact, she feels weird around him. That's code for, I don't want to sleep with you. Hey. So then they get back to the bus station. She feels weird around him, but she had absolutely no problem with asking Tyrese for money. And he does an old pimp daddy fashion. He turns around because he doesn't want to count his money out in the open for people to see. First of all, that's an old trick that my daddy used to do. He would turn around when it was time to give us money. He would turn around and count the money so we wouldn't know how much he really had, and he would give us what he thought we needed. But he gives her $200. The producer asks her, how much money did he give you? And she's like, $200. And she just has this like smirk and this like different demeanor about her now. And I'm thinking that, okay, she's out now, that she's going to try those 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 other guys that she had been messing with or talking to while she was in prison along with Tyrese. So she is most certainly using his ass, in my opinion. Do y'all think that she is using him? In the previous videos, I wasn't sure, and I did give her the benefit of the doubt. But now when I saw her smirking, and she was kind of like, yeah, it feels good to be out. Now I get to do me or something. She said something to that nature, but she is about to leave his ass high and dry. His kids tried to tell him. I'm going to just leave it at that. So then we go back to Heather and Dylan. Like, she's freaking out. She's standing in the prison parking lot waiting for him to get out, and she sees him coming over the horizon. So she is just like so excited. She takes her shoes off because she plans to run to him. But she's yelling at him, run, run, can you run? And I'm like, I don't think running is a good idea for him. He's still on the prison grounds. A guard can see him running. It could be some Shawshank Redemption kind of shit. They can shoot at him. You just never know what's going on. So keep walking, keep walking. So he walks, and they embrace when they get together. She's so happy to see him, and she's, you know, telling us that he's telling us at this point that Heather has been like really solid. She's been the only person that he could count on while he was locked up. She came to see him every week. She's got his name tattooed on her in several places. in several languages. But then he goes on to say that he almost feels like she's obsessed. And he's kind of concerned about that. It's so crazy that these people, while they're in jail, they don't have these concerns. But when they're on the outside, all of a sudden it's just like, I'm kind of concerned. I'm kind of worried. Things are weird, or I don't really know about this person. But when you were incarcerated, they were pretty much all you had at that time. But they blow me with that. But anyway, he just is kind of concerned. So we'll see what their connection is like. And I forgot to mention that he wanted to change his shirt while they were still in the parking lot. And I mean, she's kissing on his chest, trying to get him to grab her butt. She was trying to get it in right in the parking lot. She had already let us know that they would get it in the car if need be. But I was kind of excited about their story at first, but something tells me that Dylan is just he's gonna bounce. I don't want to be cynical and just a Debbie Downer about it, but I'll keep my fingers crossed for him. But something tells me that they're not gonna work. Anytime he starts talking about he's worried and he hasn't even been out a day yet, something's telling me that they won't work. But that is all I have today. And I thank you guys for hanging out with me for this review. Please do not forget to like this video, comment in the comment section below, and go ahead and subscribe so you can be here for all the other stuff that I put out. But I hope that you all have a great Labor Day weekend. If you are off, be safe, have fun. If you have to work, I'm sorry, and I hope you are getting holiday pay. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.